Hello and welcome back to the Authentic Alana YouTube channel and this Thirsty Thursday where we are going to dive into the ventral vagal state of the autonomic nervous system. Thank you so much for being here today. I am honoured to be here with you to share some more information about the autonomic nervous system to support you on this journey of life. So before we take a moment to jump into the information and knowledge, let's take a moment to check in. So finding yourself in a comfortable position, whether you're standing, sitting or lying. Maybe wriggling your body a little bit. Deliberately relaxing your shoulders and your jaw. Maybe closing your eyes or lowering your gaze. Placing a hand on your chest and one on your belly button, if that feels safe enough for you today. Just taking a moment, breathing in through your nose, down to your belly and up to your chest. Slowly letting it out through your mouth. Maybe letting a sound come out. Through your nose. Belly to chest, letting it go. Maybe just asking, what do I need? Allowing the innate wisdom of your body to guide you to what it is you need now, and allowing yourself the time to take that. And when you're ready, joining us back here, ready to jump into the ventral vagal state of the autonomic nervous system. So just a quick word about self-care. If you watched the last two videos on dorsal vagal and sympathetic states, you would have seen my pieces on self-care. On Authentic Alana, that is what we all are all about. Developing our knowledge and our awareness and supporting ourselves to look after ourselves better so that we can be a co-regulating presence for our kiddos and all the people around us. So when we jump into ventral vagal, we actually want to embody this state fully. We want to embrace all the parts and land in this space of natural being. However, a word of caution. If you haven't been in this state much before, and let's be honest, a lot of us haven't, it can feel dangerous, overwhelming, and too much. So as always, it is important to listen to your body's wisdom and follow its cues. If it feels too much, just dip a toe in. If it fills you up, jump all the way in. Making sure you're checking in, you're doing what you need. If you feel overwhelmed or you feel that it's too much, stop. I give you full permission to not watch this whole video if it's not the right time for you. If you need, go outside, get a drink of water, go for a run or a walk. Anything that helps you feel regulated and safe enough to come back into connection. The Authentic Alana YouTube channel is all about supporting your journey, and if you are overwhelmed, you actually can't take on any information. So self-care is critical. So before we jump into the information about the ventral vagal part of our autonomic nervous system, the state that sits at the top of the ladder, I want to share a story that will hopefully bring some ventral vagal connection and then also help you feel into this part of our nervous system. This week I had group supervision that I do for my play therapy work to support me in that work that I do. And often the question that our supervisor asks us when we arrive is, how are you landing today? And last time I let her know that that was a very activating question in that time, and that I was finding it really difficult to know how I was landing. I was feeling quite dysregulated, overwhelmed, chaotic, and it was really hard to answer that question. So today, the question she asked as we checked in was, how many worms did you eat when you were a kid? Now, automatically, you can see that a smile come to my face, that there was a bit of lightness, a bit of joking in that. And that is the true essence of the ventral vagal space of the nervous system. Now, if a random stranger on the street asks you how many worms you ate when you were a child, that may invoke a sense of danger or threat. However, in the safe container of our group supervision, this was a question that brought connection, co-regulation, and a little bit of humor to what can sometimes be a space where we discuss challenging and difficult components of our work. So hopefully that gave you a little bit of a laugh, and maybe right now you're thinking, how many worms did I eat as a kid? Hopefully that's brought some co-regulation and connection to you in this space. Now let's just take a moment to feel into this feeling of ventral vagal connection. So just place a hand at the back of your skull, just on your neck, and take your other hand and place it on your heart. Maybe just close your eyes. Maybe just noticing what you can notice. And just imagining the energy flowing from our brain down into our heart and the upper part of our chest and body. And then the energy flowing back from our heart and the organs in the upper part of our chest, all the way up into our brain again. And this continuous loop, circling, creating balance, creating flow. See if you can just sink a little deeper into that as your out breath is longer than your in breath. Just noticing that connection and that feeling of okayness, of safe enoughness, of connected, of regulated. So as you may have noticed from those two little, the little story and the exercise, ventral vagal state of our autonomic nervous system is when we're feeling connected, safe, regulated. It's this space where we're able to engage with the world in the ways that we want. As you might remember, the ventral vagal part of our nervous system in the ladder that we looked at sits at the top of the ladder. It is the space of our nervous system that evolved most recently. This is very unique to mammals. And supports the overall well-being and homeostasis of us as human beings. You may also recall in our discussion overview of the autonomic nervous system, or the dorsal vagal, that this ventral vagal part of our nervous system is part of the parasympathetic part of our nervous system. So last week we talked about the sympathetic, and the week before we talked about dorsal vagal, which is one branch of the parasympathetic part of the nervous system, and the ventral vagal that we're talking about today is the other part. So if we're looking at it from a body perspective, in ventral vagal terms, the vagus part of the nerve that is in charge of the ventral vagal is from the diaphragm up. So in terms of this, we're talking about our lungs, our heart, and that movement up above our diaphragm, the organs and everything that happens above there. And this part of our vagus nerve, as I said, creates balance and homeostasis and supports us to be safe and engaged, connected, and to be able to communicate clearly, as you can sense from whereabouts this part of our nervous system is kind of governed by, with our throat being part of that. So from this state on the ladder, we have a normal heart rate. Our breathing is easy, regular, consistent, and our muscle tone is relaxed. Not too floppy, not too tense, just right, as it may be. Some of the feelings that we might feel within this space are relaxed, engaged, regulated, curious, connected, and hopeful. From this space on the autonomic ladder, we're able to meet the demands moment to moment. We're able to problem solve, think clearly, make decisions, work, play, engage in day-to-day tasks with ease. And socially, it feels easy and supportive rather than overwhelming and chaotic, or like we want to shut down and disconnect. Social interactions feel easy and supportive from this ventral vagal space. From this part of our nervous system, we're able to block out distractions. We can focus on tasks and focus on conversations. We can see faces and hear the human speech because we're not worried about what's going on around us. And our nervous system is still definitely scanning and watching out for danger and threat. But from this ventral vagal space, we're able to allow that to run in the background and continue on meeting the demands of the day and engaging in the ways we want to. So it's really important as we talk about ventral vagal state of our autonomic nervous system that we talk about the social engagement system. So again, Dr. Stephen Porges termed this social engagement system as the way that we connect with the world. So this is kind of our face and heart connection. And there's a link between our heart and lots of nerves within the face that govern our ears, our eyes, our mouth, our facial expressions, our tone of voice, that govern these non-verbal ways of expressing and connecting with other people. So basically, what all of these parts are doing are sending out signs of welcome or warning and taking in signs of welcome or warning to others as part of our autonomic nervous system as well. So we will be looking at people's facial expressions. We will be listening to the tone of their voice, noticing their head tilts or their head turn, noticing their eyes as well, and whether they are welcoming or whether they are sending us signals of danger or threat. All of these things in combination create the social engagement system and tell us whether it's safe to connect with another or whether it's dangerous. And from a ventral vagal space, we're able to engage with all of these signs and signals. From a sympathetic or a dorsal dysregulated state, often we are misreading these cues as warning, as signs of danger, rather than as welcome, even if they are showing us welcoming signs. Another important part of the social engagement system that I really want to notice as well is that of intonation or the tone of our voice. And it's really important to know that our autonomic nervous system takes in this information, the intonation and tone of our voice, before it gets to the brain. And so this is why it is so important that our tone of voice, rather than what we say, is actually so much more important, because our autonomic nervous system is picking up on this, as well as our nonverbal cues from our face and our expressions before or sometimes even without even hearing the words. So that's a really important part to notice in your interactions with other people, for both yourself and for others, in terms of the social engagement system. So what might be some of the things that you notice in your day-to-day life when you're coming or in a ventral vagal state? Things that you may notice are your sleeping is stable. So your sleep cycle is fairly stable. You can get to sleep reasonably easily and you can stay asleep, and you feel rested when you wake up. You might notice that you're able to focus on tasks easily. You're able to complete things without much difficulty. It feels easier to make decisions and to problem solve. Those, when things come up, you're easily able to think of solutions and work your way through to a space that will solve the problem at hand. You're able to connect more easily and to concentrate and be in the present moment with friends and family. You're able to feel grounded more easily and in your body and noticing what's happening for you in a really conscious way. You might be able to connect with your breath more easily. You're more responsive rather than reactive from a ventral vagal space. So those moments when you can feel yourself getting pulled in a direction and you're yelling and screaming without really noticing it, that's a reactive space. But from a ventral vagal space, often we can be more responsive. We can see ahead what might be playing out, and we can take steps to regulate ourselves and to co-regulate others in the environment with us. You might notice things like being able to engage in things that light you up and excite you. You might notice things like eating better, maybe not engaging in addictive type behaviors as much from a ventral vagal space. You might also notice things like being able to communicate more clearly and concisely, and also being aware of both your body and your mind and your what's happening internally for you, as well as what's happening externally. A more ability to be in the present moment and notice these things moment to moment. So now I just want to take a moment to connect to some ventral vagal feelings within our body. I'm just going to guide you through a little experience now to find a space that feels like home within you. So if it feels safe enough for you, feel free to close your eyes or lower your gaze. Allow your breathing to slow, maybe becoming a little bit deeper. Maybe the exhalation is a little bit longer than the inhalation. Maybe you wriggle in your seat to just find a little bit more relaxation and regulation. Maybe you're noticing things within your body without judgment, just with some connection and curiosity. Now I want you to take a moment to locate a space inside your body that you might label as home or safe or just where I need to be or connected or anything else that feels right for you. When I think of home for me, I locate it in the lower left of my tummy. And any moment that I feel like I need to reconnect to home, to reconnect to me, I can place my hand there and automatically I am taken back. So just find a moment, take a moment to find that space. Now, I want you to notice the landscape in this space that is home, that is safe. What does it look like? There is no right or wrong here. Everybody has a different autonomic nervous system. Even though they work the same, our profiles are different. And what feels safe for one person may not for another. This is your home, your safe space. What does the landscape look like? For me, it's the beach. The rolling waves of the ocean stretching out before me. The sand beneath my feet, warm. The sun coming down on my face, warming me and filling me with love. And the cliffs far out in the distance, rolling along the coast. This is my landscape of home. What is yours? Now I would like you to notice the sounds, near and far. What can you hear? What can you feel both inside and outside? What is the feeling what is the feeling inside your body? And what is the feeling maybe on your skin, on your feet, on your face? Maybe you might notice some smells in this safe space of home. Something that makes you smile, that reminds you of safety. Or maybe there's a taste. Just notice all of the things you can within the landscape of your safe space and take them all in. Notice the feeling of safety that this creates for you. Notice if you're alone or if there are other people around, or maybe animals, or maybe things that create this feeling of safety for you. Notice those now too. And as we take a last look around, maybe there's an object that you'd like to take with you to remind you of this safe space, this space that feels like home, that feels like coming back to you, that feels connected and regulated. And there might not be, and that's okay, but if there is, find that object and put it in your pocket or in your heart as you gradually come back to the here and now, to this present moment, listening to me here on Authentic Alana. And know that just by touching the space of your body where you felt this feeling of home and this feeling of safeness, or holding that object in your heart or metaphorically in your hand, you can come back to this space anytime you like. Thank you so much for being here with me today on Authentic Alana. I hope there have been some gems in there about the ventral vagal part of the autonomic nervous system. It has been a pleasure to be here with you today. Hopefully you are noticing some times when you're in ventral vagal connection. And if you're not, please go back and check out my weekly wins from Sunday as I share very vulnerably and authentically about my struggles of the week and
that feeling of connection that we can get within the struggle. So if you're in that space of dysregulation and overwhelm and chaos, please know I am here with you, and ventral vagal is within your reach. You just need to find that support and that connection and co-regulation. And I hope that you can find some of that here on Authentic Alana. Thank you so much for being here with me today. Don't forget to like and subscribe so that you get all news Authentic Alana. And I can't wait to connect with you again soon. Take care.